Okay, hey everybody. I am so excited to have this ability to have a presentation about the Amazon investment opportunity that several of us are doing. And we have Dan Cohen, who's the CEO of Dropshipping Direct. And that is the company and the business model that we've decided to partner with our Amazon investment. So I know that you guys might be watching and maybe you've learned about this from me or my husband, Rod, or Brandy or her husband Clint or Lacey or Brooke. And we just thought it'd be great to have this presentation so you kind of understand what this is all about so you can decide if it's a good fit for you. So just to give you a little bit of background, I know if you're just looking into investing in Amazon, there's a lot of different ways to do so. And Rod started looking into this probably in the start of 2022 and really looked into the two methods, which was basically FBA model, which is fulfillment by Amazon, or the drop shipping model. And we had just some reservations with both of them, which I think Dan's going to probably cover. We were kind of leaning more towards drop shipping because we didn't have to pay the inventory up front. So we liked that idea. But in recent months, Amazon really does not like just the basic drop shipping method. And a lot of those Amazon stores ended up being suspended. So we were really thrilled when our friend Lacey called us and told us about this model that she's going to be starting, and she has started. And so that's when we really got interested in this investment for a passive income opportunity. So I'm going to just turn this over to you, Dan, and then what we'll do is just kind of see if there's any questions that either I have or any of the other ladies have that we're getting from our friends. So I'm going to mute and turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Gina. Yeah, so appreciate the opportunity to pretty much go over the system that we've built here. And yeah, I'll dive into it. And then yeah, at the end, if you guys have any questions that you guys have been getting, just let me know and happy to answer. So pretty much, what we're doing is we call this the Amazon cash flow system. And I'll go into exactly what this is. So who this is for? This is for entrepreneurs that are looking for a done-for-you business, and really the entrepreneurs that are looking for monthly cash flow. So, when we say it's a done-for-you business, I would say it's about 95% done for you on our end. My team handles everything from the product sourcing to the listings to customer service to pretty much everything that has to do with running and operating the store. On your side, we need you to help assist us in onboarding for the store because it's your information, your store, and just making sure that your credit line is available and working. And I'll dive into that after. And again, yeah, it's for the investor that really is looking for a monthly cash flow, right? After you build these stores out, you can get monthly returns every single month. So it's a really great model that it's going to be here for a long time to stay. So, like Gina just mentioned, so we had started out in drop shipping, and I kind of just want to explain it to everybody just so you understand the different models of Amazon, right? I think it's very important for people to understand what's out there and what there are, just so you kind of have a full picture. So, drop shipping is a model that we did on Amazon for years. And what this meant was, we would list an item on your Amazon store, right? So, for example, we would list a TV for $150. When someone would go buy that TV from your Amazon store, we would go to Walmart, purchase the TV for $100 and ship it directly to the customer. So we never saw the inventory, never touched the inventory. It was an amazing model. It was an amazing model because you're only buying inventory once it was already sold, right? So what that means is that you never were in a position where you were stuck holding inventory because we already had the money received from Amazon, and then we would go buy it from Walmart with the money that was already paid, and then ship it to the customer. Now, again, this worked for years and years. And then basically what happened was after a certain point, Amazon got fed up. Amazon was pissed off because Amazon is all about their brand awareness and their customer base. And they didn't want their customers receiving a package in a Walmart box. And then the customer reached out to Amazon saying, hey, I thought I was buying from Amazon. Why was I able to find this product cheaper at Walmart? Like, what's going on here? So they really shut it down. And as of late, anybody that's been drop shipping, you can't do it anymore. Amazon completely shut that model down. And it worked out in our benefit. And I'll go into why. But yeah, this is the model we had started with, and then we basically recreated. And so just a little bit about me, just so for anybody that's watching this. I started selling on Amazon probably about 12 years ago. I started selling the FBA model, which I'll get into after this slide. And I did that for a while, and then I got burnt out from the FBA, and I got into real estate. Flipped houses for about 5 years, and then about 4 years ago, I got back into the Amazon with the drop shipping model, and then now with our new model that we're doing. And then yeah, just a little about me. I all the businesses I run are in honor of my family. Okay, so what is FBA, right? So if you research Amazon, selling on Amazon, you're going to see FBA and you're going to see drop shipping pretty much. Those are the two main options, or seller fulfilled. Okay. So what FBA means is fulfilled by Amazon. That means that, for example, we're going to use the example of the TVs, right? If you want to sell TVs on Amazon, that means you have to actually buy the TVs, ship them to Amazon's warehouse, and then whenever an item is sold, Amazon will ship them to the customer, right? So there is some benefits to this model. The benefits are that once you own the inventory and you ship it to Amazon, they handle everything, all the fulfillment, the customer service, the feedback, anything that has to do with operating it, that's on Amazon's side, okay? So that's a big benefit. Now, the negatives and the reasons why I don't like this model personally is because you actually have to buy the inventory ahead of time. So what that means is that if you're selling TVs and you want to sell 50 TVs on your store, you have to actually buy the TVs. You have to pay up front for that money, right? So if the TVs cost $10,000, you have to pay $10,000 for the TVs, ship them to Amazon's warehouse, which could take a couple weeks to get checked in, wait for them to sell. Okay. Now, if you want to keep scaling your store higher and higher, that means you have to actually lay out a lot more money, right? If you want to make more money, that $10,000 you spend on TVs, now you have to spend 20, then 30, then 50, and so on, right? And this really exposes you at a high risk of inventory, because what can happen is that if you're selling a product that's doing really well, at any time, Amazon could pop up and sell it. A competitor could pop up and sell it. And all of a sudden, the price starts to go down. So what happens, let's say you have $100,000 worth of inventory and the price drops. Now you're in a race to the bottom to try to recoup your money back so that you can get your money back to buy the next round of inventory to then get it to Amazon, right? You could have lost months and months of waiting to get back that inventory before you could buy new inventory, losing money because the price is dropping. So that's the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of FBA, because I think you're exposed for a lot more risk. And there's a lot more guidelines with Amazon, right? Like you can only send in X amount of inventory for your store. If you want to get your inventory back, they're going to charge you a couple dollars. So there's a lot of rules and regulations with FBA as well. So I'm not the biggest fan of that. Okay. So what we do, and our model is called two-step dropshipping. Okay. So this is a new model that we created. We've been doing it for a few months now. And what this means is that two-step dropshipping. Okay. When someone buys something from your Amazon store, we're going to go to Walmart, purchase that TV from Walmart, but instead we're going to ship it directly to our warehouse first, that's in Florida. We're going to repackage that TV, and then we're going to ship it to the customer. Okay. So what this means for you as the investor purchasing this store, we're still following the same logic of drop shipping. Okay. Meaning that we're only buying an item when it's already been sold on your store. Okay. But adding this step where we ship the item to our warehouse first, repackage it in a plain box, and put your name on it, we are now fully compliant with Amazon's terms of services. Okay. So pretty much we took a model that was extremely successful, that was doing really well, but that was against Amazon's policies. And we kept the same groundwork, but we basically formulated it to get it to where we're now in their terms of service. And now we're fully compliant. So, everybody that has been around the Amazon drop shipping kind of thought of what it was and was reading on it. When they hear this model that we've created, I mean, everybody is just stoked and they're extremely excited because they understand the power of what we've done here. They understand that for you as the investor, as the client, you're only buying an item when it's been sold. You have no exposure for the inventory like the FBA model does, but you also now aren't having to skate around Amazon's policies to get around the dropshipping policy, because we've created this new model where we repackage everything. So by doing this, again, we're fully compliant with their terms of services, and really the sky's the limit on this model at this point. And then a little about my team structure and communication. So one of the big advantages of my company versus other companies in the space is that my back-end team that runs and manages the stores is my partner that's overseas. They work only for me, no other companies, which is a major thing. A lot of other companies in the space have 10, 20 different back-end teams. All my teams are controlled by me, trained by me, and managed by me. So that's a huge thing. And in terms of communication, everybody that works with us, everybody that has a store is put into a WhatsApp chat where everybody, it's pretty much a 24-hour chat. You could ask any questions with my team. I connect you to everybody running my stores and manage it. You're in direct communication. And then we actually also just built out a customer service portal where you could set up a Zoom call with my team and ask any questions there. And then people always ask, how much money can I make off of this? So we took this right off of Google, but pretty much what we're seeing is typically about a 7 to 12% net monthly profit off of what you're able to spend. Okay. So what that means is that off your credit limit, right? When we sell that TV on your Amazon store for the $150, and then we're going to Walmart to buy it for $100, we're using your credit to leverage that purchase, right? So if you're able to spend $20,000 a month on your credit card, you're typically seeing about a $2,000 profit, right? If you're able to spend $50,000 a month on your credit card, typically $5,000 profit, and so on. And just here, these are just a couple spreadsheets. Every client gets a shared Google sheet. This is going to have the details of everything for your store, every order ID, customer, sales price, everything. So like this store for a month did $7,300 net profit, 21% ROI. This store here just under 4,000 profit at 20% ROI. This store here, right, 4,000 at 15% ROI, and then this store, over 7,000 at 18% ROI. And just some frequently asked questions that I get that I think, I'm sure a lot of people are always wondering. People always say, so, if this is so good, why don't I have all these stores myself, right? Why am I doing this model? Why am I bringing this to other people? Okay. And the reason is because Amazon only allows you to have one store per household. Okay. So I cannot open up 50 stores on my own. When I built my company, I had no intentions of actually even building a company. I got my store for myself. Then I got friends and family members just because I was trying to leverage their credit to build this out. And people started getting results and coming to me and saying, hey, can I get a store from you? Or how do I get a store? And it's kind of morphed into a business. And that's kind of how we got here. But now, if I have hundreds of clients and we're using your credit on the store, your name and everything, I now technically own all these stores with you. And that's why we do a profit share on the store, right? So now I'm able to leverage hundreds of people's credit, millions and millions of dollars a month in credit, and be able to sell a lot of stores on Amazon. Okay. People always ask, isn't Amazon getting saturated? Are we worried about competition? This was even from 2020, so the numbers are even higher now, but over 1 million employees, hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue per year. And e-com sales is just getting bigger and bigger. As you can see, the way the world's going, the economy is going, big box stores are shutting down. People are buying online, right? We try to target items that are everyday consumable items. So your toilet paper, your Gatorade, things like this, coffee, right? Things that people are going to buy no matter what's going on in the world. We're targeting those types of items. And I could assure you that if your store is doing $50,000 a month in sales, you're not moving the needle on Amazon whatsoever, right? We could have thousands of stores and not make a dent on Amazon. Who owns the business? So it's your business. You own it. It's in your name, your LLC, everything. We're just the management company, right? So what that means is that it's your asset. Okay. These stores have value to them. If you had a store that's running for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have a lot of sales, a lot of positive feedback and reviews on it. Someone would buy that store from you because they could literally start coming from day one and be making good money selling on Amazon. So these stores definitely have a value as an asset. Then people ask, can you use multiple credit cards? Yes, you can. On the buying side, you could have multiple cards. Ideally, we want you to have 1 or 2 if possible, but you can use multiple cards. And then how do you view the activity? So you're going to have your Amazon store, right? So you have the backend access to see everything on Amazon, all the sales, reporting, everything. We provide you with that Google sheet that I just showed you. And then you could always look in the buying account, your credit card, everything. Right? So you have a lot of different places you could cross-reference the activity. And then obviously the biggest question is, are there any risks, right? When we were drop shipping before, the risk was substantial. I would say when we were drop shipping, there was probably a 95% chance that at some point your store was going to get flagged for drop shipping and shut down. And I would say we've now flipped that with our new model where there's maybe a 5% chance of a store being shut down. And the main risk, the biggest risk that we come across, is simply the supplier side. If we get orders on your store and our supplier cancels the orders and we're not able to get it in time, that could cause a red flag with Amazon. But these aren't issues that your store is going to be terminated. You're never going to be able to sell again, right? These are things that we just have to work with the supply side to get that situated. But that is the biggest risk that we're currently facing. And compared to what else is out there and investments and dealing with Amazon, especially, if that's our biggest risk, I think we're sitting in a pretty good spot. And then obviously the $1 million question, how to get started. What does it cost, right? So the store for Amazon is $35,000 up front, and we do a 65-35 profit share. You keep 65%, we take 35%, and then there's a $300 a month software fee. That is only charged if your store does a minimum of $1,000 profit for the month. And then your store also needs to become tax exempt. And what that means is that basically when we're buying from our suppliers, we don't have to pay the sales tax. So that really increases the profit margin. And then I also put here the 90-day probation period. Basically what this means, when you start selling on Amazon, the first 90 days, you're doing little to no sales. You think about this, right? You're building a business from the ground floor. You have to build that trust and relationship with Amazon. So if you scale too quickly, they could shut you down because they just want to make sure that you have a grasp on your business, right? That you're shipping items on time, deliveries are going through, everything like that. So the first 90 days, expect little to no sales. And then month after month over that, we're able to scale the store up higher and higher. So that is everything on Amazon. And let's see if, Gina, if you have questions for me, more than happy to
Yeah, thank you so much.
answer them.
That was great. So I just want to recap a few things for people to understand, because I know when we were looking into it, these were the big things for us. So first of all, the two-step method that we have now that you have created, which I mean, it's really, if people have researched this for months and months, like my husband has, it's very exciting. And when you say there's now maybe a 5% risk of having your store be suspended, you're saying in that 5% risk, say are some, people complain our store suspended. There is the team there that would then maybe appeal, or there's kind of some things to go through to get that store reopened, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So pretty much what could happen in this model, right, is uh, your store has a really good day. We get 50 orders of coffee. We go to Walmart or whatever, Target, whatever, and they're out of stock, right? So we have to cancel the orders. So what would happen is Amazon has metrics, and if our cancellation rate gets too high, typically they'll send you a warning at first, but if it continues to happen, they could basically put your store like in a temporary review where they're going to shut it down to make sure what's going on. And then that's when we have a whole team that would do the appeal to work on this. But the nice thing about this model is that since we're following all the rules of Amazon, we could show them. We could show them, hey, look, we were purchasing this from Walmart and they were out of stock, right? And how are we going to correct this? By making sure X, Y, and Z is in stock, whatever, right? So we're able. That's why I'm saying, the chances of a suspension now is much slimmer. But if it does get a suspension, we have a very, very good chance of getting it back and getting it back quickly, because we could be, truthful to Amazon. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is why this happened. And, they'll look at it and say, okay, now we know what you're doing.
And that is something that your team handles.
Yep, exactly.
So I want everybody to understand, like, the profit share, you're the investor, right? Like, I'm an investor. I'm not having to search and look at algorithms and see what items are searched and being bought and all of that on the back end. Like, all that back end
Yep.
stuff, if that's not your cup of tea, you just really want a passive income opportunity, then this might be something for you, because all the technical stuff that, like you said, like, to kind of handle if there is an issue, shipping, all of that is what your team handles. And so I just want everybody to understand, like, this is an investment. You put up the $35,000. I know people ask, well, what is that? That's kind of like buying into like your online space, like almost like franchise, like getting the setup correct. Where you were the
Yep.
one that has the warehouse. You invested in this big warehouse. You have invested in training a team to do the back end work. So we are partnering with Dropshipping Direct, and therefore that's the upfront cost, and then it's the profit share. The investor keeps 65%. I'm good on that, right? Okay.
Yep.
And then some people ask, like, I get this question a lot, like, is there a link? Like, can I shop on my own link, or can I send my link out to people? I feel like that answer might be no, because you're kind of just trying to put in the stores the items that are being bought a lot, like that kind of stuff. Like I wouldn't like want to share my link to people, correct?
Yeah. So it's funny. Okay, so a couple answers in that, right? The number one thing I'd say is um, you cannot outsmart Amazon. Okay, Amazon's not stupid, right? So Amazon knows more about people than people probably hope they do, right? So they know typically, like if you send your store to five of your friends and you get similar orders and they write similar reviews, they know what you're doing. They're most likely not even going to post your reviews. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that we could find the item cheaper from Walmart or something, right? Like that's the whole point of this. So you don't want to buy yourself when we know that we can find it somewhere cheaper because that's our whole specialty, right? And not only that, but you also don't want too many people knowing about your link just in case something ever were to happen, right? If
Mm.
something were to happen with your store, obviously you're typically anybody that's going to be buying a store from you is someone that you know most likely. But as it kind of gets bigger and bigger, like you don't know if people are going to look at those products and try to do it themselves or things like that, right? So I wouldn't recommend it,
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
if you wanted to, yeah, they could see what you're selling them.
Okay. And so the team that we're partnering with, your team, they're doing this back end work. And if did I hear this correctly? I think this is still accurate that the team actually is paid 100% commission. So their goal is for our stores as investors to do well, or they don't get paid. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So, I'll go into, so basically there's no secret in this industry. People use virtual assistants overseas, right? That's just how they do this. One thing I did mention on the call, like I said, my team only works for me, nobody else. They're my partners, which is a major difference. But also a lot of other companies out there, because I know firsthand from dealing with them, most of them will pay their guys that are running the stores, a fixed salary, right? Say you pay them $200-300 a month, right? They have no incentive to scale your store from $1,000 to $5,000 profit because they have no incentive with that, right? So my team, they only work off of commission. So every store to them is another business, right? So they're truly incentivized to scale your store to as much profit as possible.
Right. And I think that that's brilliant, because I mean, I know how I would work,
Yeah,
if I'm working on something and it's more money for me to work harder and to make it work, then obviously you're more motivated and diligent and careful, right? Because we want
yeah,
our product to be.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
okay, so the other thing that I was going to ask about, like, let's just use an example. If a credit card and I do want to mention to you guys, using a credit card that has benefits like points or cash back will actually give you an added benefit to this passive income opportunity. So I know that there's a lot of different options out there, but if you are interested in like a 2% cash back card, there's something like that. Or if you're looking at points, like just keep that in mind. But let's say you have a $30,000 a month credit limit. Would after everything, after say they maxed out, they you spent the 30,000 on your store, you were able to sell, you have the $300 fee, right? You have the $99 fee come out, the 35% comes out. At the end, is that where you would say it's around a 10% net profit? So we could count on approximately, say if it's 7 to 12%, let's do 10% for easy math. Would our
Mhm.
net profit, what we're making, be 3,000, or is that before we pay the expenses?
Yeah, yeah. So typically that 10% net is after all the fees and splits and everything.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, because that's what I thought too. I just wanted to
Yep.
make sure.
Yep.
So, did you guys hear that right? So, if it's $30,000 that you're able to scale on your credit card, and then you pay the $300 fee, you pay the $99 for the tax exempt, you do the profit share, 35%, 65%. You can gauge about 7 to 12% is net profit. That's
Yep.
like, I hope that everybody's understanding, like, this is a passive income opportunity. It's going to grow over time. And I feel like, it's going to pretty much, you're getting that return sooner than a lot of other investments out there, in as far as I'm concerned. And then you talk about age stores being, so can you just describe that? Because so if someone's starting out and they're impatient, right? That's not really a good energy to have, because it takes like the 90 days to get it set up, right? And then you're having to kind of build upon your line of credit as well. So are you saying as you keep going, the line of credit will increase, and then therefore your store will scale more, and then you can earn more passive income? Is that how you'd explain it?
Yeah, so this definitely is not a get rich quick thing, right? This is definitely something we're going to build, and you're looking to have this for a long term investment. Like we want to have these stores for years and years to come. The easiest way to put it would be this, okay? The first 90 days of a store, expect little to no sales. Okay, month four, we could do 10 to 20,000 dollars in sales. Then month five, 20 to 30, then 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and so on, right? So people always ask, when can I break even or this and that? It's like kind of if you're being realistic with yourself about how much credit you have, assuming once you get to month 6 or 7, you could do say 50,000 a month in sales and scale after that. You know yourself personally how much credit you have, and you can kind of work backwards on the numbers.
Yes. And I know, if anybody wanted to see what it kind of looks like, we've seen it, but it's basically almost like out in cyberspace, I guess you can say, right? There's different products. It could have like Metamucil, diapers, baby wipes. I mean, things that people are buying and repeat buying would be so when people say, oh, it's on my store, like you guys have to understand you're investing in like online real estate. You're not having to pick out products. You're not having to come up with a product to sell. Like this is really just a passive income opportunity for you. Now, also, there's an opportunity. It is newer. We have Amazon, pretty tried and true, obviously growing, and it's $35,000. But there's also an opportunity to have a bundle where you can also have a Facebook store. If you can just touch on that, because some people might be interested, because the bundle, if you buy both together, it's 50,000 rather than 35,000 each. Can you just touch a little bit on the Facebook store model?
Yep. So Facebook is a newer platform. Facebook's been around for like a year with a selling platform. Similar to Amazon, where we're buying items typically from Amazon or Walmart to relist. We typically sell different products on Facebook. But think about this: the easiest way to put it is, Amazon's been around for 10 plus years. It's tried and true, right? They're not going anywhere, getting bigger and bigger. A lot of these other companies, Facebook, Walmart, Target, they're all kind of trying to get into this space, right? Because they see what's going on. They see that they have to pivot. Facebook has been losing a lot of money as a company, right? So they really need some extra help. So they built out this platform called Facebook Shops. It's been around for like a year. When we first started selling on it, immediately we were getting amazing results. $7 to $10,000 a month profits. And throughout the year, it's definitely gone down, and it's gone down because right now Facebook is free. They charge you zero to sell on their platform, where Amazon charges you 15%, right? So the reason why Facebook hasn't charged people is because they've been essentially in beta testing for the past year. They've been doing tweaks to their algorithm, how the listens are going to be, how they want to basically approve people to the platform. I will say right now, this week, currently, actually, they are now everybody that's on the platform, they are doing a re-verification. So they want to make sure that if you're on their platform, you are an approved business, that you actually have a legitimate LLC. So they're doing verification, which is a very good thing, because any platforms that don't do verification, that's how their fraud comes up. And then there's issues. So Facebook is really taking the proper steps. And by the end of this year, they're supposed to be launching their paid platform, which is going to be 5%. So it is less than Amazon. And we're starting to see an uptick in sales with Facebook. Same thing. It typically takes like 60 to 90 days to start getting a Facebook rolling. But again, yeah, sales are a little slower right now with it. But we could see we're getting stores that are doing $1,000 to $3,000 profit. And then we do see that, basically with the uptick that we're seeing and how it was before, we definitely expect them to get to that $5,000 to $10,000 a month range once they do that paid platform.
Okay, awesome. I think this was such a great overview. And I just to recap, if you're watching and you're thinking this is a maybe possible investment for you, and Dan, your warehouse is in Jacksonville, Florida, right?
Yep.
How many more investors can you take on to be able to have your team work with investors at this
Um,
point?
so we have three offices. Our third office is a brand new one that just got finished being built out. And with that office alone, we could add another 400 stores to the company. So we have plenty of room to grow. And if we did get to that range, then obviously we would just keep expanding. But yeah, as of now, we have plenty of room.
Awesome. So to recap, you guys, and then Brandy or Lacey, if there's anything you wanted to add, but one, who is this for? First of all, it's an investment. So obviously you need to have the cash, right? You have to have the $35,000. The best and easiest way to pay that would be through a wire. You just go to your bank, you wire the money. Um, if you don't have the money, there are options for loans. So if that's something you want to talk about, you can just let one of us know. Um, Second of all is your credit score. Okay, it's very important because otherwise you cannot fund your store. So you wouldn't be a great investor unless you have a great, a pretty strong credit. Would you say about 700 is probably what you want to go for, 700 or more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's just something to just because this might not be for everybody, and that's okay. And then if you don't have an LLC, they're very easy to create, but you would want an LLC as well. And a device. You need to have a computer device. And like Dan mentioned, it is one address for a store. So if you are, a married couple and you're thinking you want to each get a store, just remember it is, you only can have one store per address. But if those things so far sound good, the next step would then be if that all seems like it is a good fit for you, then we would go from there to introduce you to somebody that can kind of get you set up, let you know what you need, go through like make sure your credit's good, make sure you're, kind of have your ducks in a row to be a good investor for this. And then once you are set and you wire the money over to Dan and his company, that's when they start building out the store and you will be included on the process from all throughout the whole 90 days. And then you also, Dan, you say that we see everything in up to date time, like when things get sold and the profit, all of that, correct? Everybody
Mhm.
can see and view
Yep.
it.
Yep. Access to everything.
Awesome. Well, I think this was a great overview for us to at least share to the friends that we have that are very interested in doing what we're doing. And then, of course, if there's any further questions, Dan, you've been great. You're always available, so you can let one of us know, and we will, get you the answers if you have any other further questions. So thank you so much,
Perfect.
Dan. I appreciate it.
Of course.